SBI is the
And they are
first
most
bank.
profitable in private, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, we gave a comparison like
Yeah,
They are
rural
not
level, now
they are not
you check the
technologically
statics.
advanced.
Exactly.
Check the statics.
Not all
Public-private
the-
partnership,
but not all
like
the banks
51%,
are,
49%.
PPP model.
One thing you missed is
Good afternoon. Welcome to the group discussion. This is a stepping stone for your success in the banking career. Okay, all the best to all of you. And how the group discussion will be conducted is, initially we'll give you the topic. 2 minutes time is given to you all to jot down the points, whatever you all think about the topic. It can be for the topic or against the topic. There is no compulsion that all of you all agree on something. Then after that, each person will be given a minute or two to give your views by turn. Once that is completed, it is open for discussion amongst all of you, and the final what we require is an unanimous opinion about what is the view of the group regarding the topic. Okay. Each of us can vary about the point, but finally we want a unanimous opinion. Is it clear?
Yes.
Any doubts you'll have?
No.
Okay.
okay. Welcome to the group discussion. Today's topic is privatization of public sector banks, a boon or a bane. Whether privatization will help the public or not. Public sector, privatization of public sector banks, boon or a bane. Okay, shall we start? Yes. Okay. Now you present your views. We will give you 2 minutes time.
So hi guys, so our topic is a privatization of bank is boon or ban. So first understand what is privatization. Basically for understanding for all, privatization is transfer of ownership from government to any private entity which is interested in the business. Okay, so first India went on privatization was in 91, 92. I think it's a new economic policy. People generally known as LPG policy, I think. So it was first government was interested in that, and after that recently government has in 21-22 union budget, government has announced privatization of two banks, PNB and one I forget, that announced for privatization. It is a boon and ban both for like depend on what are the situation in that. Like if a bank is in a run position or not working properly, liquidation issue and NPA issue, this kind of things are happening, then it need to be like government thinks why we invest our money in that instead of investing there, investing money in covering loss. They put money in the development process and sell that part of the bank to private entity, so cover the loss.
So if we focus like the topic we have is privatization of public sector banks, boon or ban. I think at some part it's a ban. Why? Because 70% of our India's population lives in rural areas. We have tier 4, tier 5 cities, villages where 70% of the population is living, and most of them we can say is they are not upskilled or tech enabled. They know they go to banks to take out all their savings, keep their savings. But I think that privatization of public sector banks, it will more focus on their own profit rather than serving the like doing social responsibilities. When a bank is run by government, they focus more on how they can help in upskilling the lifestyle of users, lifestyle of the overall population. They just do not focus on tier 1 and tier 2 cities like Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai. They also focus on some of the remote areas where there is no electricity. Now with the advancement of everything, we have got there are opportunities for even in the remote areas. Government is sending companies and asking them to go and ask users to open their bank accounts. So I think it's a ban. We should not the bank should not be privatized. It should be under the government regulations only, but we need technical advancement. We should the focus should also be on not only be on customer social responsibility, as we say CSR. The focus should also be public and profit.
First thing, privatization, why it happen or why it take place. For bad loan, if NPAs are increasing, then administrative and red tapeism problems, that's why privatization takes place. Then if government want to some policy reforms, like then privatization take place. If bank bad debt loan increasing, then privatization of course increasing, cause government somehow not wanted to take responsibility of that loan. So by doing privatization, they transfer their ownership and share their problems. Actually in that case happen. And why privatization is boon, it's when it could lead to better management practice, streamline their operations. Government monopoly reduced here. Strategically, privatization led to increased overall efficiency. If privatization takes place, then employees' efficiencies are also increasing. They work very closely and of course transparently. Suppose if I apply a loan in a public sector bank or a government bank, there is a very difference between when I today apply and when I get a loan. But in privatization, if I go to the private bank and apply for a loan, they give me in day to day also. They provide me loan. And of course it's reduced burden on public exchequer, like government burden reduced here. And is also somehow recapitalizations and comply with they try to policy reforms with Basel III norms. They try to maintain such things also. And why it is ben for me, it's monopoly concentration here, like focus on more why it is bank private banks are more focused on profit, more focus on focus on profit, and more focus on their own shareholders. And but here public sector bank are more focused on the social responsibility and social profits. Like we can say Jan Dhan account, also public sector bank cop up with the government. Public sector bank also try to implement government many schemes or policy, like Kisan credit card scheme. So or Jan Dhan account I already said. And it's also been cause private bank more work on financial exclusion, like they don't go to the rural areas. But public sector banks like Jan Dhan mobile app, when it initially started, public sector banks employees, we can see ki they initially go to the people, like people to people they go and inform them ki what is the Jan Dhan mobile app. The way public sector bank work, here is a private bank are not working, but we need more public sector banks now. Many of the public sector banks also work very well. So yes, privatization it's okay, but public sector banks we also need nowadays, cause if we see ki we apply for a loan, that interest rate amount in private sector bank is much higher than public sector bank, so we need public sector bank also nowadays.
So I agree with your point, but see, privatization of public sector banks mean privatization has both its positive as well as negative consequences. Means it's a boon also as well as a ban also. So positive point, negative point is it will create unemployment, because when we are doing means when there is a privatization, first of all they focus on the profit making and all. So they will definitely try to means they will try to reduce the cost of the banks, and also for that they will be firing the employees, or they will be first motive will be to fire the employees or reduce the employee size of the organization. So definitely it will create a large number of unemployment. Second, privatization will means if privatization will lose control from the government, definitely they will be more focused towards the profit making process rather than public interest. So public sector banks are more focusing more on the consumer interest rather than focusing on profit making. But if privatization will be done, then definitely it will be impacting the consumer interest as well, and it will be more focused towards the profit motive and all, and it will be much more focused towards the short-term gains rather than focusing on the long-term gains and all. There are some positive points also in relation to this particular topic, that when privatization will be done, definitely it will be getting an open market to raise funds and provide necessary loans and requirements to the customers. But
so the thing is, right, like we guys are talking about the privatization of the bank, right? So the thing is here, like if the bank will start go for like a private, right, going for the private, like we will face lots of problem, right? So everyone has said about like they will want to be able to go to the village areas, right? So they have to educate also, right? Main thing, like private bank will not be doing, right? And also of course like cost cutting, right? As you said, like cost cutting, definitely they will be doing the cost cutting, right, for their profit making. And the thing is, like it may happen lots of fraud. We have seen like before like 1997, right, when there was India was under the rule of British, right? First what they do, they came to India, they do all the industries set up here, do the privatization here, and start taking like lots of taxes, right? The same thing in future may happen if the thing is happening, start going for the privatization, right? So they will not, like what the government is doing right now, Indian government, they make lots of schemes for the poor people also, so that they can afford, like you have seen like lots of like this lots of food they are distributing, like schemes are also there, subsidies are also there. They won't be happening in future. Definitely the privatization should be banned. And the thing is, of course the like after going to privatization, they will think about their profit. They will not be going for the such schemes what the right now the government is doing for the poor people, right, to adapt that. The thing I'm also like against for like going for the privatization, because our government first analyze all the peoples who all are staying in the urban area, right, city area, urban area, village area, right? So they first of all, before going for the any scheme, they analyze all the customer who all are their customers, right? So before doing that, before taking any schemes, decisions regarding that any other topic, first they will analyze that thing. But the private bank will not be doing, just they will think of their cost cutting or like profit things. And we also see lots of, like you can say like Vijay Mallya, right? They have the lots of stuffs here. They have done lots of he was having like, they were having like flights and all, Kingfisher's flights, you have heard about that. After taking all the thing, they moved to the US. What they are doing, like they have invested some amount of money in the US area, right? So that the thing is, our government can't able to track that person there, right? The thing is, so I feel like privatization should be bad.
I would like to add one more thing, that job losses, as everyone was talking, that once companies are privatized and it is given to a private entity, job losses will happen, because what they will do is, in government we have seen that for every work there is an employee. For every small work, there are employees who are taking care of the things in their department. But when it comes to privatization, they will use tech-enabled technology. They will use AI. They will have much advanced technology to do 10 tasks with one employee. So cost cutting is one of the things that will happen once the privatization of banks happen. Risk of corruption. So when there is no government incursion, that the government is monitoring what the banks are doing, so the chances of risk or corruption increases. Private companies can do money laundering. This is one of the cases that we have seen that it happens. It has happened many times that these things can happen. One thing I would like to add ki we do not need the banks to be owned by a person or a single entity, but private public partnership where government is monitoring every aspect, not every aspect, but there should be some rules and regulation which is governed by government. Corporate social responsibility should be managed by each and every bank or each and every private sector, that they are investing some of their amounts or some of the profit amounts into for social causes. Either they are making parts, or they are creating employment, or they are creating schemes, or they are providing any type of benefit for the social.
Now I will give you the time for discussion. Okay, if you are not agree with his points, you can argue with him. Put forth your, if there is any points left out in your okay.
Yes, you all guys are focusing on profit maximization. Like this is the basic of banking. Like every bank wants to get profit, so we can't say that like if bank wants to make profit, we should not privatize it. Sir, that's the main business of the bank, to make profit from the business.
But we also
I also want take a moment कि in India more than 70% of our population live in a rural area where private bank did not reach to give them services. Here public sector bank play their role, right? Here public sector play their role to provide them services in their doors or in their door also. Like many of bank we know, SBI ho, Indian banks provide their recently Indian bank provides services retired people to provide their retirement or fixed deposit money in their doorstep also. They give them they give them money or something like services in their home also. So here it is ki privatization is okay, but in urban areas, if the bank, like you say कि bank को अपना profit बनाना, if bank want to make profit, so in urban area it is okay. But what about financial inclusion? Bank main motive is to financial inclusion. So the financial inclusion means no people left behind. Everyone access their financial services.
So what I think is ki privatization can happen, it should happen, but it should happen at a level that it is governed by government.
It's not completely happening like 100% is private. It is public-private PPP model,
but
public-private partnership,
but not all
like
the banks
51%,
are
49%.
PPP model,
following all the rules and regulations.
Every bank, if we see, it makes
Plus
profit,
private
and
bank
it
also
invest in their service also.
Plus private bank services
technology
also not
has
affordable.
evolved. Technology has evolved now. We can get any service in our home. We don't need any person to come our home and do things. Everything if we want loan, if we want
as we said,
service,
70% of the population is living in rural areas. They are
rural area now
they are not
you check the
technologically
statics.
advanced.
Exactly.
Check the statics. Rural area also has internet. They are private sector banks are not left behind for
Internet.
providing.
If I talk about priority sector lending, then you know that ki priority sector lending only done by the public sector
No,
bank.
it's not compulsory.
give
It's
a
not
not
given.
compulsory.
Now both private bank and
But
public
that-
both are
that
required to
agriculture
cover.
loan,
And
that
RBI is able
MSME loans,
to monitor this.
that
I will share
agriculture-
one incident. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a real time incident. One of my friend, like he want to take the student loan, right? He was like his father was not like sufficient for pay that amount, right? So what he did, he went to the SBI bank, government bank. He went. Alright, he saw all the documents, right, and all the interest, everything like regarding that. he got like in a less amount of interest, he got the bank. Same time, if just for like discussion, he went, and after that he went to the public private bank.
Private bank.
All right. So the thing was that when he saw all the document like regarding the EMI, how much he have to pay, it was much more higher than the public sector.
That's
bank.
affordability of loan amount I talk about.
That the thing.
Interest rate is very high
First,
in the
I think I
private
had
sector
said
banks
in the
also.
point like before going for any scheme or
Yeah.
public bank, go for the analyzing the customer, who all are their customer, right?
And I think private sector, public sector bank also implement government policy in their schemes.
You-
They can open Jandan Khata, they can give public loans.
Yes, but we cannot
And
give,
also
there should
gov-
not be a monopoly like we have 10 banks.
Yeah,
out
this
of
can
them,
be
9 of
this
the
can be
banks
problem
are,
if all banks get
privately
privatized.
owned.
Then
So
business got in
the rules and
power.
regulations should be set up. Government has set up some rules and regulations. It should be followed. It should not be like all the banks are getting private, because if we compare government entities with private entities, 100% private entities will be more profitable, because
Yeah.
government is focusing on social causes.
Yeah.
Private entities are more focused on profit. So obviously it will be more, everyone will be more tend towards going in working, and they job losses will also be there in private, because as I said previously that technologically
job
advanced
loss is
people,
not a
they will
big
not
issue.
be hiring someone from a rural area. They will be hiring someone who has done MBA from top tier cities. So we have to take into consideration that also, because in if we see government job employees, they are mostly from the rural areas. They are applying for government jobs, they are preparing
Yeah, for
government
that they are providing various opportunities like apprenticeship scheme, and also private companies offer more jobs.
See, in
big
India,
sector.
we want public sector bank with private services, like the private services, private bank services provided.
Yeah, it should
more
be
efficient,
mixture.
Yes.
more
It should be
efficient.
mixture, not
Like
completely.
we don't want, we don't want कि मैंने आज लोन अप्लाई किया है तो वो 10 दिन के बाद अप्रूवल हो. Of course, लोन की नीड
Yeah, it's
आज
a long time back story. I think now
Exactly.
it's not big.
No, it's
Yeah.
also happen nowadays also when I apply for education loan
that
in public.
we need public sector banks with private sector facilities,
Exactly.
faster optimization of the reports that we are asking, loans, credit cards, or bank openings, and with better facilities. So the end conclusion is what I can say after discussing is that we require public sector banks with private sector
Facilities.
Facilities.
And what I think is privatization is good also, and not good because it reduces access to poor, and also concentration of power. This will be the two major issue if all banks get privatized. Otherwise, everything is fine.
In private sector banking.
Yeah, concentration of power and reduced access of poor and
Then
poor people.
if all bank are privatized, then bank will do their own thing. Na?
So
They
that's
can
why
provide
they can-
XYZ industry.
That's what
loan.
I'm saying. Concentration of power
It
is
should be balanced
it
with
should be
both
balanced.
public
both.
and private sector.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's I'm saying.
Yes.
Same thing.
Okay, you can summarize now.
Yeah.
Yes.
You summarize and tell your views.
Like
I think,
always.
let Gaurav summarize.
Yes, so see, basically we were much more focusing on that rural areas. The rural areas people are not that much employed. So if privatization will happen, they will be hiring people from tier 1 and tier 2 cities, and they will not focus on the tier 3 and tier 4 cities as well. But nowadays, in rural areas also, the students, the people are means they are at least doing their graduation and they are gaining a good education. They have an educational background, so they can apply for the job. Like we have in government sector, definitely we have a process. We have the exam means preliminary exam, then means, then interview. So if privatization is done, we can bring that process of exams and also now in government exams. Everyone, since like Shubham said, that everyone can appear for the exam, whether they are of urban areas as well as rural areas. So we can do that with the private banks also. Some process would be there, exams should be they conducted where means both urban as well as rural students can participate, and they can appear for the exam and they can get selected.
Okay.
The conclusion is we say as ki
It should be
public
balanced.
sector bank is needed
Yeah.
For financial inclusion. Financial inclusion is the most important thing India now we need. We want public sector bank with private facilities also.
So like I also conclude that like privatization should be banned in banking sector. Why? Because as many times I have informed like regarding the schemes, everything, right? So the thing is like before going for the scheme, like government go for the some analyzing part, right? The thing is that privatization should be banned. Like public sector bank look for the people, all over the people, whether it's from village, cities, right? So that they can afford everything, whatever they needs, like regarding the loans, gold loans, home loan, car loan, right? And also I've shared like real-time experience regarding the education loan. What my like friends went through that. That's the thing is.
Okay, everybody came out with your views. You are telling about what is the advantages and disadvantages of privatization. One thing you missed is why public sector earlier privatization, private banks were made public. That means why nationalization has been taken up. So that main part you have missed. You are all missed that one. So why the government has nationalized all the public sector, private sector banks? So that part you should have covered. No, that is because of that rural need and the banking need for all the people, and because of the social banking, and to bring up our economy, to make the agriculture or wherever necessary sector to come up, and manufacturing sector should come up. So all these things was necessary at that time. So all these private sector banks were not giving loans or giving their assistance to these sectors, which were not profitable. So that they said that banks need not have profit, but they want the social banking, and they want this, because of these things the social banking and your Indian economy can grow up. So this was the main intention. Now that intention is not at all needed, because so the banks already encroached or say that it has reached their stretched their hands, and in every part of India all the persons have the banking knowledge, banking facilities, so that now even the privatization happen also, this will not hamper. Okay, this point you should have brought this.
One point you all mentioned, all of you all I think agreed on that. A little privatization, the benefits of privatization should be implemented in public sector banks. You all agreed on that. You all didn't mention about why that is not happening now. There's a cost factor involved. See, technology adoption, with the development of technology is at a high cost. Though now public sector banks have already made use of all the technology, still private sector banks are definitely a little ahead. Still it is being used. The other thing is, you mentioned about the profit only in private sector banks, but of late if you see, all public sector banks are profitable.
Yeah, I have mentioned that.
You mentioned that, but there was no consensus on that.
Yeah.
There was no this thing. It is not only private sector banks which are making profit.
Both are
Public sector banks are also are profitable. Okay.
SBI is the
And they are
first
more
bank.
than private, I think.
Yeah.
Actually, we gave a comparison like the public sector and private sector. The private sector are making better margin,
No, that's
better
true.
profit.
No, definitely. That was a valid point, of course. The other thing is about employment creation.
Yes.
Somebody did mention about
Yeah.
you should implement the same rules in private sector banks, but that may not be easily possible, because private sector have their own
Long
thing
process.
about how they think.
Yeah,
And
the
about-
hiring process is
yeah.
totally different in private and public sectors.
And even in case of loan sanctions, compared to earlier years, public sector banks loans are being sanctioned at a faster pace, definitely.
We can in mobile banking, it is possible.
There is possibility.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
sir. Thank you,
Everybody
sir.
has given their views and presented very well.
Great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.